After hearing this, I might just buy myself a tinfoil hat, because this is a conspiracy that was proven true, all laid out in declassified documents. The US government has done plenty of controversial things in the past, but have you ever heard of the time the US made plans to kill their own citizens and blame it on another country? You might not believe that the US leaders are capable of this, but what I'm about to tell you really happened. So, how did US leaders become involved in plans against their own people? It started in 1959 when Fidel Castro led a communist revolution in Cuba. For the US, this just couldn't stand. They could not allow a communist leader with ties to Soviet Russia to remain so close to US shores. But Castro was too powerful to overthrow with methods like sabotage or stirring up public opinion. So someone came up with a plan. Actually, someone's, the Joint Chiefs of Staff. They thought up a scheme that to this day stands out as one of the most controversial and disturbing US government operations ever planned. Operation Northwoods. Basically, the Joint Chiefs of Staff wanted to bomb Castro before he could become more powerful. But they couldn't just attack Cuba. That would be an unprovoked act of war, and the American people wouldn't support it. So they proposed Operation Northwoods, a plan to trick the American public and the world. It was a series of top secret false flag operations, attacks disguised to look like they came from Cuba. And they weren't just attacks. These attacks would be against America's own military and civilians. You heard that right. Operation Northwoods was a series of 9 different but equally horrifying ways that the US military could stage attacks on America and blame them on Cuba. I'll spare you all the details because honestly, each one could be its own video. But here are a few of the highlights. One plan was to intentionally blow up an American ship near Guantanamo Bay. Unfortunately, that was one of the less morally disgraceful plans. Another plan was to wage a terror campaign against Cuban refugees in the US. The idea was to make Cuba's government look unstable. They'd have to be unstable to attack their own fleeing citizens, right? Apparently, the Joint Chiefs of Staff didn't see the irony in their plans, and their ideas got even more horrible from there. One plan was an elaborate ruse to make it look like a Cuban aircraft shot down a plane full of US college students. Another plan was similar, but with a US Air Force jet instead of a civilian plane. One of the most dangerous ideas was to stage a fake hijacking of a plane full of US citizens. So much could go wrong, but to the Joint Chiefs of Staff, that didn't matter. What mattered was making American citizens believe that an attack on Cuba was right. If that sounds completely disturbing to you, you're not alone. When President John F. Kennedy learned of this plan, he was horrified. He immediately rejected the proposal and fired the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. And Operation Northwoods went on to become an infamous example of how far some leaders are willing to go to get what they want. It makes you wonder if other government operations like this exist, but are still a secret. What are your thoughts on Operation Northwoods? Leave a comment and be sure to share this video.